Welcome to Smack Talk. As always, link down below in the description box to credit WWE for actually updating their webpage this time. Unlike last week, it was just completely not there. So let's get into it because I am confused about something here. So, Roman Reigns comes face to face with Jey Uso. They have their little chat. I beat you before, I'll do it again, says Jey. As always, these little series of in-ring vignette promos, whatever you want to call them, I always really enjoy them. Now, here's where I'm confused. So, Santos Escobar defeated Rey Mysterio to win the United States Championship Invitational final after the match was stopped due to Rey Mysterio injury, which, by the way, is legit. But it was already said that they wanted Santos Escobar to win to begin with. But they wanted him to win by pinfall, not by forfeiture. So they're really pushing the Santos Escobar thing, which is fine. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it. I personally, obviously, have more attachment to Rey Mysterio, who's 48. I get that. He's pushing 50, wants to be around for another couple of years before he gives it up. And his performance in the ring, just in general, I always find is really good. He really hasn't missed much of a beat, in my opinion, in recent years. So it's going to be interesting with this here because, see, with the United States Championship, Austin Theory, watching from the skybox, Santos Escobar won. And they're going to have their match on, it was said, August the 11th, in 2 weeks after SummerSlam. Okay, so if we look at the calendar, well, I'm looking at it because my pumpkin head's in the way. You see, the next SmackDown is on August the 4th. SummerSlam is August the 5th. And then the next SmackDown after that is August 11th. That's when Santos Escobar goes up against Austin Theory. But if you look at the card for SummerSlam, it keeps being rumored that LA Knight could be facing Austin Theory and that LA Knight should win the belt, but now he's in a Battle Royale thing. So I don't even know what's going on. Is the United States Championship not on the line? Is Austin Theory not competing? I don't get it. I personally don't know what the hell's going on. If you do, let me know. This is funny as hell when LA Knight came out. Because, again, there's that whole thing where people have been saying he's kind of like The Rock and Stone Cold. So he did his elbow thing, right? And then he kind of went to do sort of like a stunner, but not really. It was like a stunner RKO. I forget what the name of the move was, but it was funny when Top Dollar was in the ring and he's like, I didn't know Uncle Phil could rap. You know, from the Will Smith show. My goodness. Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Anyways. Yeah. Sorry, I'm like half asleep. And then the thing that he said about, what's her name? Oh my god. Blunt Force Trauma. That's the name of the move. When he came in and he was like, it looks like your loins are all worked up there and you're horny. That is totally something The Rock would have said. So I think they were just kind of playing off of that. And I just thought the whole thing was hilarious. I mean, the match was okay. Right? But like I said before, I'm just, no offense, I haven't seen much of them. Maybe that's why. But I don't have a lot of investment in Hit Row. As a whole, I'm just not really into it at all. Now, this was great. Bianca Belair and Charlotte. This was interesting because, you know, sometimes you have these forced tag teams where you have like two rivals going up against each other. And then all of a sudden the tag team's like, no, I'm not there. Oh, I didn't see you. Oh, I was too busy, doing my nails or whatever. But this was not the case. They were always there for each other. They tag each other in. And all that. Bianca Belair didn't want the match. And Charlotte's like, no, we're going to have it. So, yeah, that was cool. Man, they're both so good. And Charlotte did way better than last week. Oh, my God. This was so much better. I know I keep going back to it, but I have to because it happens every week. So I got to talk about it if it keeps happening every week. Sonya Deville and Chelsea Green. Again, I don't hate them. There's no hate. They're just I don't get it. I just don't get it. But I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. I always use this as an example because you just don't know what's going on internally. In terms of the athleticism and all that, it's quite possible that, Chelsea can do a lot more than we see, but she's booked to be the ditzy kind of thing, whatever you call it, kind of person. I mean, even when she's being called out, Chelsea Green, right? Like with what's her name again? The ring announcer? I forget her name. I'm forgetting a lot of stuff. But yeah, when she gets called out, that's how they call her out. So I think she's supposed to be like, oh my God, no, don't touch me. What am I doing in here kind of thing. But it is still a little bit off-putting. Because again, like I said before, if you saw Hulk Hogan in the 80s when he was wrestling in Japan, and I've used this example before because it's a good one, and then you watch him like a month later when he's in the WWF at the time, it's like, what, did he just suddenly have amnesia and forget how to do all those moves? No, they didn't want him to wrestle like that, because a lot of people will say Hulk Hogan can't wrestle. You've never seen him drop kick, toe hold, ensiguris, and all that kind of stuff. He can do a lot more than you think, or could at least. So it's quite possible that this is a case where Chelsea is supposed to play a character, and it's almost like... Anyways, it's hard to explain, but what I'm saying is you can't always go by the actual performance you see in the ring, but there's no doubt in my mind that, hell, even Bianca and Charlotte could make a better tag team than Sonya and Chelsea. There's no nice way of saying it. Karrion Kross, Carl Anderson, I mean, this was, Sometimes, like I said, I don't really have necessarily much to say about each match. There was a distraction, then he lost. But as a whole, I do like Karrion Kross. I'd like to see him maybe do a little bit more with AJ. Maybe we'll see that at some point. I don't know. The Good Brothers, Carl and Luke Gallows. I'd like to see them as tag champions again someday. They are really, really good. But I'm not too sure what they're going to do with them as a whole, like their whole stable and stuff like that. Obviously, they're not being pushed as hard as like, the Bloodline or the Judgment Day or any of that. The Judgment Day locking horns with the OC would be cool because you got Rhea Ripley. She could go up against Mishin. Is that her name? Yeah. And all that. And then it would just be like a free-for-all. It would be pretty cool, at least I think. But yeah, I mean, this was like a decent match, like I said. Decent flow. Like, sometimes a match could be like not like necessarily a 5-star match, but I'll still rate it like a really good match if there's like next to no botches, moves are being performed safely, that kind of thing. Just the in-ring athleticism that you may or not see, depending on who's in the ring. So sometimes I will rate a match like this higher than another match that in some ways could potentially be more exhilarating, but there was more sloppiness and stuff like that. But in the end, were you entertained? Did it have the E in WWE? And I mean, like I said, this was okay for me. This was the main event. And I mean, it was pretty decent. Grayson Waller is pretty good in the ring. I much prefer him in the ring than when he's doing his little show there, the Grayson Waller effect. I'm not really, like I said, into that. Some of the things that he says, that they're really not all that spectacular, to the point where I feel pretty cocky that I could have a talk show in WWE if he's able to have it. Absolutely. Because some of the insults that he says, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't make much sense to me from a creative perspective. But this was a great match. I'm trying to think what for me would be the highlight of the night. Because sometimes I do have those, but I feel like there wasn't much there. But even though it felt very one-sided, to me, the Bianca Belair and Charlotte, that was like really well executed. I really, really enjoyed this. This for me is probably the highlight of the night for me. But again, like I said, some of the other matches were pretty decent too. A whole thing again, Roman Reigns coming out, Uso spearing Roman. I would have liked to have seen somebody come out to help him a little bit, but Jay is out. Or Jimmy is out. Liv is out. Raquel? Now Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, R-Truth. Man, there's a lot of people on the injured list lately. Yeah, so all in all, as a whole, like, I enjoyed myself. Oh! Bobby Lashley gifts the Street Profits some suits. They're really slow at building up what it is they're trying to build up here. I think it's going to be like a revamped Hurt Business, which I would like to see. But yeah, all in all, it felt a bit slow. This is not one of my favorite SmackDowns. Again, I'm not here to trash it or up it more than it deserves. It was pretty decent, like I said. As a whole, and it might sound like a cop-out, I don't care. I just enjoy wrestling, period. I don't give a shit if it's TNA, Impact, if it's New Japan, if it's AEW, WWE. There's always going to be some stuff that I question that I think is a bit meh, underwhelming. Excuse me, some stuff that is like really amazing. And it's those moments that I simply lash onto throughout all the different promotions. Right? I know some people sometimes just trash just the whole thing. Oh, it's shit, I haven't watched wrestling in 20... And great, you know, that's how you feel. You didn't enjoy anything, and I don't blame you. It's not the same as it was in the Golden Era days, the Attitude Era, the Ruthless Aggression Era. It really wasn't. Like, the wrestling in the 60s and 70s, I didn't quite like too much. But, I mean, it wasn't terrible. But absolutely, in the very, very late 70s, very early 80s, is when, for me, wrestling, like, became, oh my god, like, for me, like, I was hooked hard. And then after the whole Ruthless Aggression era went away and we got into the whole, you know, PG thing, yeah, it sucked a lot. Storylines weren't nearly as good, but the Bloodline, as of late for the last few years, have been great. There's been some great moments. There's no denying that. But anyways, I could go on forever and I don't want to. If you liked the video, thumbs up. You didn't like it, a thumbs down. We bend it in half, twist it. Maybe we'll break off a Solo Sokoa thumb off in your ass. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, naturally, that'd be great. But if not, thanks for stopping by anyways. Take care, and maybe I'll see some of you in the next one. Bye for now.